Hey folks, so everything is going to look really weird and possibly also sound really weird. I apologize for that, but we've been having some internet problems and those are being fixed, but then guess what? My laptop died, which is terrible because my whole life, like booktube and my writing, everything is on there. So, just trying not to panic right now. We're sorting that out. Anyway, I still wanted to come to you with a video. Unfortunately, I was in the middle of editing, like my book haul video from a shop that me and my friends went to this past weekend. But now, of course, there goes everything that I was doing. If you would like, please do indeed check out my Bookstagram handle. It's still Wicked Pluto's Wicked Reading. I usually have it in like the description box below on my videos, and I think I might have it on my description box also in general for like my profile. But I did take some pictures there, so please do check that out if you will. My friends and I went to a bookstore, like I said, this past weekend. It was the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. We had a lovely time. The staff was so wonderful. It is a bookstore that is across 3 different locations. The main location is like the main barn, and that is where they receive books if you're like donating or you're trying to sell stuff. They also then have like a new arrivals section, which is like they're priced but not organized, and then it moves outward into other sections. They have a couple of different buildings. They have like little sheds and stuff full of different books across a whole bunch of different genres. Then they have just down the road a place called Chapter 3, which is heavily into like romance novels, and I think we also found mystery there, and adventure, action adventure, and stuff like that. And then there's a downtown location, their downtown book barn, and that has like their graphic novels and manga and children's books and like a whole bunch of other like stuff. So yeah, very cool place. We went to all locations. It was a lovely afternoon out. The staff was so wonderful. I donated a whole bag of books and came back with a couple bags of books. So yeah, so technical difficulties, but I still wanted to get like a video out to you guys because it does look like I'm not going to have a laptop for a couple of weeks. So I did want to get at least something out to you right now while I figure my shit out. So come with me for a slightly unconventional book haul. What's really sad is I'd also put everything away and reorganized, so I have them stacked around me right now, and I'll go through them quick-ish because we're on my phone. Okay, so first up, this first stack that I can grab right here. Okay, I grabbed a couple of romance novels at their Chapter 3 location. This first one, so I was looking for the last Viking. I can't remember who it's by, but Autumn High. You'd had it in like one of your haul videos, and it sounded so good, like cheesy but hilarious and good, and I searched for it but did not find it. However, in that general area, I did find Kiss of the Highlander. Oh great, is everything gonna be backwards? I'm so sorry guys, I think everything's gonna be backwards on here. It is Kiss of the Highlander. It is by Karen Marie Moaning, and this involves like a woman going to Scotland to find a guy, essentially, and coming across this dude who's been asleep in a cave for 500 years, and shenanigans ensue, and I am already partway through the book, and I honestly, my expectations for this were so low, and I'm loving this experience. So I don't know about the rest of the series. This was the one that sounded the most appealing to me at the time, but yeah, it's really good. If you want some more Outlander, but not Outlander at the same time. And then I saw this one. This is a total title buy. I don't even know what this is about. I saw this and I was like, I can't leave this store without this book because wow. It is Between a Rake and a Hard Place, and it is by Connie Mason and Mia my gosh, the sticker's in the way. Marlowe. Yeah. Again, don't know what it's about. I know it's a historical fiction. And that's about all I know, because this is a total, it's not even a cover buy, because I mean, yeah, he's kind of cute. He looks a little bit like, what's his face? Damon from Vampire Diaries, but like, that's whatever. The title, Between a Rake and a Hard Place. Yes, please. Great. So yeah, I'm going into this with low expectations too. I'm here for the entertainment. And then besides romance, I have mysteries. So I grabbed a couple of vintage mysteries. First of all, I wanted to get more Dorothy L. Sayers, and they had this one, which is Busman's Honeymoon, which I know from the She Done It podcast, is apparently like super good, like very enjoyable mystery, and I've been wanting to get more into Dorothy L. Sayers. I've been kind of reading them out of order, but ultimately I don't think it matters that much. But yeah, this is a Peter Wimsey again with the lovely Harriet Fane. So, and then, I also decided to grab a Dashiell Hammett. I was actually looking for more Thin Man books, because I love the Thin Man movies. I have read the original Thin Man book, but I'm assuming that there's others in the series, but I didn't see any there. So I decided to grab the Maltese Falcon, which is about Private Eye Sam Spade. I don't know anything about this, but I do know the Maltese Falcon was made into like a movie at least once, maybe twice. It's like a classic crime thing. So I figured, you know what, let's dive into this. And then I also ended up grabbing their Agatha Christie selection was not that great, but I think that cat, please. I think that might ultimately be because they were cleaned out. It just seemed like there was an empty space. So I don't think it's like anything on them. I just think that people like are super into Agatha Christie and like they blow through her books really quick. But I did find this. It's Postmark Murder, and this is actually 4 novels in one. I do already own a Caribbean mystery, so honestly, probably didn't need to get this again, but this has Nemesis, Murder in Mesopotamia, and Appointment with Death, and I haven't read any of those, and I don't own copies either, so I decided, you know what, this is only like $5, that's worth it to have these other novels. So that's that, and then the last mystery I grabbed is Murder in Memoriam, and this is by Didier Dynanik. I promise I will know how to pronounce this by the time I'm like reading and wrapping this up. But this is a murder mystery that has to do partially with a real life event that happened. It says in the 60s, 20,000 Algerians marched into Paris in a peaceful protest, and then a bunch of them were like killed. So this is involving like a real life event that happened, but there's like a murder mystery surrounding like that event, or rather the aftermath of that event. So I've been wanting to expand my mystery reading a lot, and I've also been really into reading like French books recently, so I definitely wanted to read this. It sounds very cool, or very interesting. And then I also have some classics right here. So I have Emily of New Moon by Ellen Montgomery. Honestly, I have not read that since I was a teenager, but because I reread the Anne of Green Gables series like a year or so ago, and I'm currently rereading Anne again right now, I was thinking, you know what, I might want to reread Emily of New Moon again. I know I wasn't really super into it when I was a teenager, but I might feel differently about it now as an adult. And I happened to see, I didn't know until like last year that there were other books about her, and I happened to see these on sale at the store, so I grabbed Emily Climbs, which is the second book, and this is matching the book that I have, and then I couldn't find a matching one for the last book, but you know what, whatever, it's fine. And it's Emily's Quest is the last book, so I grabbed those so I can finish reading that trilogy. I think that will be really fun. And then I decided to grab some more Dickens. I found this really beautiful copy of Great Expectations. And I really like this because there's like an inscription in here too. And yeah, so that's really good. Like I said, I've been wanting to do some more reading into Dickens. I have Bleak House, and now I've also picked up Great Expectations. And also, I think doesn't he look like James McAvoy a little bit? Like young James McAvoy? I don't know. Then I also ended up grabbing this. This might need an explanation, because I already own 2 copies of A Christmas Carol. However, it's one of my favorite books. Also, this is a collection. This is a collection of stories, Christmas stories by Charles Dickens, and it's not any of the Christmas stories that are in the like vintage book that I picked up like last year. These are actually completely different stories in here. So it says it's Christmas festivities, the story of the goblins who stole a sexton, a Christmas episode from Master Humphrey's Clock, which I guess is like an excerpt of A Christmas Carol, The Haunted Man and the Ghost Bargain, A Christmas Tree, What Christmas Is as We Grow Older, and The Seven Poor Travelers. So it's like a whole other collection, and it's that kind of cool, like Pantone, like color thing that people were into like a while ago. It's like a puffin and it's like paint colors or something, which is honestly not really my thing, but it is very interesting. And also it's like a whole collection of Christmas short stories by Charles Dickens, so why not? Then so I grabbed a Stephen King, but this is not a horror Stephen King. This is a sci-fi Stephen King. It is 11/22/63, and this is about I think it's more than one time traveler, but it's basically like time travelers going back to 1963 to stop JFK from being assassinated. So fascinating. I have heard from multiple people that this is absolutely amazing, and I have really been wanting to read it for a while. So when I saw like a copy sitting there, I was like, yes, now is the time. Let's see. Okay, then I also have some nonfiction. First of all, I found Pity the Reader on Writing with Style. It is a writing book that is partially written by Kurt Vonnegut, and I just finished rereading Slaughterhouse-Five, which was really just intense. So yeah, I didn't know he wrote a book on writing. So yeah, wanted to pick this up as soon as I saw it. So yes, so I got that book, and then I also, now this one's not for me. I was also kind of in the back of my mind looking for a Father's Day present for my dad, and saw this. It is The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip J. Corso, retired. It's a former Pentagon official reveals the U.S. government's shocking UFO cover-up. I don't know if this is legit or not, but it's a book about it, and my dad's like super into like UFOs and like alien abductions and like stuff like that. So I thought that this is something that he would be wicked into. So I grabbed him this, and then I also got Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I have heard this talked about here on like BookTube a little bit. It's basically I believe either one letter or a series of letters by Ta-Nehisi Coates to his son, basically about like, you know, living in the world and taking up space in a world in which you're like a young black man and having to deal with like how things are in America right now, how things are in the world and stuff like that. So Yeah, I've been hearing about this here and there, and I saw this and was like, oh yes, definitely want to read this. And then I also grabbed The Man Who Made Vermeers, which is Unvarnishing the Legend of Master Forger Han van Meegeren. This is by Jonathan Lopez. I actually heard like a podcast episode about this guy before. Basically, he like sold famous paintings to like the Nazis and stuff, and he was getting in trouble for that. And then he was like, whoa, 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 they're not real. I painted those. And so it's basically like about his like master forgery, and honestly, like heists and stuff like that, like museum heists and like jewelry heists and like all that kind of jazz, and like forgery, like master forgers and stuff like that, is that's all like stuff that is kind of a low-key obsessed with it. I really find that very fascinating. So yeah, I saw this book and I was like, oh yes, definitely want to read that. And then I was over in the war section just kind of poking around a little bit because I've been reading stuff about like World War II, and I saw this and was like, oh hell yes. This is Code Talker. It is the first and only memoir by one of the original Navajo code talkers of World War II, who is Chester Nez. And he co-wrote this with Judith Scheiss Avila. I don't know if any of you saw like the movie Code Talkers back whenever that came out. It was like Adam Beach and Nicolas Cage. And yeah, so I watched that back in the day. I'm not really a war movie person, but reading books about it is interesting. And yeah, I saw this and was like, this is definitely a memoir that I want to have, and definitely one that I need to read. So yeah, it also has like some really nice pictures in here too. So yeah, and this last nonfiction book I got is My Captain America, a granddaughter's memoir of a legendary comic book artist. This is by Megan Margulies. She is the granddaughter of, hold on, what is his name? Joe Simon, who is one of the co-creators of Captain America, as well as, what else did he create? The Boy Commandos, Fighting American, and The Fly. So I know The Fly and I know Captain America, but I don't know the other two. But yeah, he's one of the co-creators of them. So this is a memoir about him and about her relationship with her grandfather, and I thought that was very sweet. And also, I'm just like, I'm into collecting memoirs, sometimes of famous people, but also of just like, you know, people who should be more famous. So yeah. Let's see. Then I grabbed some adventure books, and most of them are they're just Clive Cussler. So I saw a whole bunch of Clive Cussler, and I was like, gotta get it. I don't know what most of these are about. Dragon. I don't think I've read this one before. But this is, I think this is like, there's like one of the missiles they were supposed to drop in like Japan, but didn't end up doing that in World War II, is on the bottom of the ocean, and this is about like psychopaths who are trying to get the bomb pieces so they can use it, and like dark pits, gotta stop them, kind of thing. Then there's Shockwave, which I know I did read back in like high school, and I'm not sure what this is, other than there's like a typhoon, and maybe the typhoon is like man-made, possibly, something like that. Then I also grabbed Celtic Empire and The Devil's Sea, and these are two books that he wrote with his son, and these are more recent ones, like pre his passing, so I know these are like more of the two up-to-date ones. And I don't know what those are about. And then there's Atlantis Found, which I know I did read before. And I believe on Atlantis there's some stuff going on. And also I think there's like, has to do with like the opening scene is pretty in my brain, about a wreck, a ship caught in ice and like frozen people on board, which actually is a famous thing that happened. I heard a podcast episode about it. Really fascinating. But yeah, so wanted to own my own copy. I probably could have gotten the paperback copy, but oh shit. Is this actually? Okay, I don't know if this is actually signed or if this is a forgery, but it looks like it. Okay. So it was a good thing that I grabbed the hardcover. Holy shit. Okay, they didn't have this at the store. Maybe they could. Oh my god, maybe they didn't know, or maybe they couldn't confirm. Okay. Anyway. Alright. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I grabbed the hardcover because I was like, I read the hardcover the first time I read it, and I wanted to own a copy of it, and now that my decision apparently was a really good one. Oh shit. Okay. And then the other Clive Cussler find that I was the most excited about, but now we're equally excited. It was Raise the Titanic. And this was made into like a movie that I've heard is quite terrible, but I haven't watched it yet. And it's before Robert Ballard found the Titanic, so they didn't know that it was in two pieces. They thought it was still in one piece. So yeah, it's about like Dirk Pitt trying to go down and like bring the Titanic back up from the ocean's floor. And yeah, I had been searching for a while now to find a copy that did not cost an arm and a leg, and I was thrilled because there was not one but like 3 copies at the store. But I liked the cover on this one the best, so I ended up grabbing this one. And yeah, okay, so that was those. Oh, then I also grabbed some historical fiction. And the first thing was, okay, so there's a picture on Instagram, on my Instagram post of this, but my friends and I got separated in the new arrivals area, and I was just bebopping along, grabbing books, and I picked up The Hamilton Affair by Elizabeth Cobbs, and it's basically like a fictionalized account of the romance between Alex and Eliza. And I was like, well, obviously I need this in my life. And I was walking along, found my friends, and my bestie is like, look at what I just grabbed. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me, because I also grabbed the same thing. Yeah, great minds think alike. So yeah, anyway, so that is pretty exciting. And then this other one, actually, this is a signed one that I knew about and I thought was really cool. First of all, I love the art on this because it looks like one of those old travel posters. So that caught my eye first. It is The Trackers by Charles Fraser, and I read the inside, and this is apparently during the Great Depression, and there's like this artist who gets pulled into like the new no, what's not called the New Deal? Yeah, New Deal. It was actually the what was it? The WPA or something like that, I think was what it was. It's like it was FDR's way of giving artists jobs during the Great Depression, while at the same time also boosting morale in the country at large by like beautifying different parts of the country. And so this guy is sent to work on a mural and stays on this ranch and gets pulled into this couple's lives, and then the wife takes off with like a famous painting, and the husband ends up hiring this guy to track her down, basically. So this is about like all of that, and that sounded super fascinating. So yeah. And then I also grabbed, so this book, in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to find something really weird. Because, sometimes at secondhand bookstores, you can find the weirdest shit. And I found this, like, right away. It is The Lady Who Liked Clean Restrooms, and it is by J.P. Donlevy. It is the chronicle of one of the strangest stories ever to be rumored about around New York. I don't know what this is about. I just saw the title, and this and was like, that's my weird thing. This is my weird thing. And it cost me like only like $4. So I was like, $4 to have a very strange book that is either going to be just amazing or just a very weird time. Love it. Okay. So yeah, don't know what this is about, but needed to have it in my life. If you know what it is about, let me know, because I'm just actually, no, don't let me know. Don't let me know. I don't want to know yet. Okay, last bit of stuff I grabbed is all nope, I lied. I have young adult and I have middle grade. So young adult, we'll do that first. First of all, I grabbed The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I know everybody and their uncle was like screaming about this book a few years ago. And I'd been on the fence, like I knew I wanted to read it at some point, but I was just like, I'll get around to it eventually. And then I saw it there on the shelf and was like, you know what, maybe now's the time. This is like a historical fiction set in the 1800s about like this guy who's like kind of a rapscallion, and he is about to set off on his grand tour, and he has like his best friend along for the ride. But the thing is like he's also nursing a pretty huge crush on his best friend, which makes things complicated because they're both dudes and it's the 1800s. But apparently this is like super sweet and hilarious from what everybody has been saying, so I'm pretty excited to get into this. I'm excited enough that I might pick this up this month. Maybe. I basically fucked my whole TBR. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna read the things that I put on my TBR for June, because now I have all of these beautiful things, so we'll see. And then I also grabbed The Dark Days Club, which is by Allison Goodman, and this is another one where everybody was yelling about this a few years ago. I don't know much about it except it's like a murder mystery or something like that, and involves like a secret like Regency era club school thing. That was all I needed to know, really. And the last group is middle grade. So first of all, I grabbed Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Demigod Files by Rick Riordan. And this is basically just like a companion novel, and has like interviews that Percy does with like other characters and just stuff like that. And I only get companion novels to series that I absolutely adore. Like, I have companion novels to like Harry Potter from back in the day. I have companion novels to The Princess Diaries from back in the day. So I was like, oh man, this is right here in front of me. I'm gonna do it. So that's that. Then I was searching for more Lloyd Alexander and found some more. I decided to grab Time Cat, which is a fantasy novel, but it involves time travel. Love it. Then I grabbed Return to Holiday Inn by James Howe, and this is part of the Bunnicula series, and this actually means I complete the Bunnicula series, because this is the only one of my childhood books that I did not own, and now I own a copy, so I'm probably going to have to do a reread of the series at some point, because I know I read this in elementary school, but I just never owned a copy of it, so yeah. Then I also grabbed Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. I don't know if I can fully express the love that I had for this book back in elementary school. Like, I think a lot of people in like growing up, we were like super into this at the time. But I read this like so many times. My classroom had like a copy. I just adored this book. It is next to, I think, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. It is one of the earliest books that felt like it broke a part of me, but I didn't really mind. And yeah, so that was there, and this is also like a 25th anniversary edition, which means there's like an interview with the author in the back, which is super cool. So yeah, grab this because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't not have that. Then I found The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. Now, when I was growing up, I owned like a box set of the series with like the 90s like box set covers and everything like that. I now have no idea where that is. I think all of them have been scattered to the winds. I know that I had like 2 of the books somewhere in my room back before I moved away from home. One of them I haven't seen in years. Another one was at my grandparents', but now it's not there anymore. I don't know where. They basically scattered to the winds, so I don't know where any of them are anymore. This is the vintage like cover, and it still lists this as book number 1 in the series, but now I think chronologically it's counted as like book 2, I believe. But this was the copy basically that I read this book in for the first time, because whatever grade I was in the classroom, our teacher owned the series. So this was like the first time I ever read this book was in a book like this, and I was like, it is $1 for this really nice vintage copy of The Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And then the last book I grabbed might also need an explanation, because I do own a copy. So yeah, but it's Stormbreaker by not by Alex Rider. It is part of the Alex Rider series. It is by Anthony Horowitz. This is the first book in the Alex Rider series, actually. If you've been around for a while, you've probably heard me talk about Alex Rider before, but I think I read this series to completion before I started like a channel. I loved this so much. This series, I adore it. So yeah, and I do own the first book, but it is the movie tie-in copy. This is actually the original cover, and it's an anniversary edition of it, which means it has 2 extra short stories in the back of the book. And because I cannot accept the fact that the Alex Rider series is over, and I always want more Alex Rider, I was like, you know what? We're gonna get this so I can do a reread of this series soon, and because then I get 2 extra short stories I didn't know existed. So, yeah. So yeah, guys, that was everything. That was like all of the things that I ended up getting. Like, it was a very good trip. We had a lot of fun. Like I said, like, it was a pretty good day for it. Everybody was super nice. We had a lot of fun looking through the books, even though partially it was a little overwhelming because there's so many things. And then we got to like grab like a late lunch at Mystic Pizza too, which was like stellar pizza, by the way. But yeah, so that was just a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me on this journey of all the crap that I got. Please let me know if you read any of these, what you felt about them. If you have, if any of these sound interesting to you, I will be getting to them at some point, so you'll be able to hear my thoughts on them. But yeah, actually, you know what? Let me know. What do you think that I